Hello and welcome into another pregame show. What is going on? Matt O'Leary alongside Connor. Connor, how's it going, my friend?
Matt, super great to be back here. We're now back in our regular time slot after 3 weeks of havoc, if you will. We're back and we're here to stay for the rest of the season. Big game tonight for the Jets. Robert Saleh, he's out. Jeff Ulbrich, he's in. Todd Downing now calling offensive plays. So a big game and super happy to be here for yet another post-game edition of this series.
Absolutely love rocking with this. Just wanted to give a shout out to the sponsor, Odds Jam. Think risk-free profits from sports betting sounds too good to be true. Well, it's real, and you can secure guaranteed profits with Odds Jam's arbitrage betting tool. Imagine buying sneakers for $10 and then immediately flipping them for 20. That's essentially how arbitrage betting works. Sports books all price their markets differently to stand out. And this creates an opportunity for you to bet on both sides of a game and lock in profit no matter who wins. OddsJam scans millions of odds from different sports books, and as soon as it spots an arbitrage opportunity, you get alerted. Minimal effort, maximum risk-free profit. Don't just take my word for it. You can try it yourself. 7-day free trial. Use the link below. Enter code O'Leary for 35% off your first month. Again, shout out to OddsJam for being the sponsor of the pregame show. All right, let's hop into this one. Connor, what's your feel for this one? Obviously, new head coach. We did the last time we spoke on the pregame show on Saturday. You were over in London, and Robert Saleh was still here, and now a week later, not the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said when we first started the show, Robert Saleh, he's now out of the organization. Jeff Ulbrich, he's in. I'll sum up my quick thoughts on the move. I never thought Woody would pull the plug, but I can't complain about the move. I know people are saying, well, how does it make a difference? You get rid of your defensive-minded head coach and you bring a new defensive-minded. Well, that's not the case. I think the main reason that Saleh got canned is the undisciplined play, not holding anyone accountable week in and week out. I think he was too much of a player's coach, and now I think we're going to see Ulbrich. He's going to get he's going to show his emotion on the sideline. One of the first Jet coaches, I feel, who I think is going to do that for a very long time. He's going to hold players accountable, and I think that's what you need in an organization like this. But as for what I'm expecting, the Bills are also coming off a tough loss, 23-20. Josh Allen, Matt, completed only 9 of his 30 passes. It's going to be a really interesting game. I'm sure we'll get into the keys to success, but huge game for the Jets because it doesn't get much easier after this. You got the Steelers, and then you have an easier matchup against the Patriots. And then you face off against the Texans on Halloween, Thursday Night Football, another tough matchup. This is a must-win for the Jets.
Absolutely. Can't afford to get to 2-4 or drop to 2-4. A win puts you at 3-3, which probably isn't where anyone wanted to be through 6 weeks, but top of the division still at that point. The AFC East has gotten off to a bit of a slow start. The Bills got hot and then dropped their last 2 games against the Ravens and the Texans. And as you mentioned, Josh Allen really struggled in that game. Big storyline. He goes down, hits his head hard on the turf, ends up coming back in the game, but a little controversial whether or not he was cleared or should have been cleared to come back into the game. Clearly will play a factor there. And we'll get into all of that on this show. You want to get it started with the callers? We got to.
Oh yeah, Matt. Let's go to the OG.
Doug is calling in. Doug in the room. Hang on, I got to get him on the screen here.
There we go.
I know why we lost last week, because you guys dropped this random middle of the day Saturday pregame show, and I was the last person to call instead of a regular Sunday pregame show where I'm usually the first person to call. So what are we doing here with the? I know you had to do it on Saturday because he was in London, but that just ruined the whole feng shui of the weekend.
Yep,
definitely
absolutely.
Killed the vibes. And we didn't have a choice. You know, if we're coming on 7 o'clock in the morning, I don't know how a post pregame. I don't think we would have had you on the pregame.
Oh no, I definitely would have been asleep.
Yep.
Completely just like random Saturday afternoon. It's not any better. Just saying. That's neither here nor there. Yeah, no, I feel good about tonight. I think the Jets, you get that bump from the interim head coach. You're also wearing the throwback jerseys from before Connor was even alive. So, like he doesn't even remember Rex Ryan. Like, what a guy. Like, that was the last
I wasn't
coach.
alive for Rex. Like, I wasn't even alive.
That's the last coach we had. We had it with personality. So,
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what Ulbricht's like tonight. Also, I know you're a Mets fan, but Yankees are going to win in 5 or 6. Just throwing that out there.
So the Mets, they're up 6-3 right now. They're about to knot things up in the series.
Yeah, I think the Yankees. The Guardians pitching is not as strong as the Yankees, so that's where. But back to the Jets. Yeah, Jets win. I think they went pretty easily tonight. Actually,
Okay.
the Bills have looked bad. A lot of players are hurt. Ed Oliver's out. James Cook, I know he's probably gonna play, but he's banged up. Crazy that Frank Gore Jr. might play in this game though. And then they saw
Maybe he was elevated.
I saw a thing that Josh Allen would be the first person to hand off to a player and then his son, which would be kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
Frank Gore's only out of the league 4 years, and now his son's in the NFL.
Frank Gore was a Jet not too long ago.
That's what I'm aware.
Connor's first memory is Frank Gore runs up the A gap, unfortunately.
Yeah, that and Sam Darnold. I barely remember Josh McCown actually starting.
Connor doesn't know anything good about football. It's unfortunate. It really is. Yeah, you don't. But like you mentioned, we haven't had a coach with personality since Rex.
Because Rex, Bowles, Gase.
No, Bowles was a doormat.
Yep, exactly. That's
Rex. The first 2 years of Rex are some of the most fun football ever. That's when he was in the Patriots' faces saying F Belichick. He can shove the rings up his ass. Sorry for the language, but the first 2 years of Rex were some of the most. And you know when all that when he chose to get skinny, when Rex chose to get skinny, that's when the team went downhill. He needed to stay fat. I know it wasn't good for his long-term health, but the team was great when he was a bigger guy. Am I wrong, Matt?
No, that was even pre-Ozempic too. He went old school with the sleeve.
Yeah, he got a tummy tuck.
Yeah.
And
then didn't he get it removed too? He was like, "This is too much."
He got his stomach shrunk down to a golf ball, and he's got his stomach staple. And that's when he started going downhill. Coincidence? I don't think so. No, honestly, in the 2011 year, we started out like 8-3, and then there was the Tebow game, and then it just started going downhill from there. That was bad. But it would be nice to have a coach with personality. Also, I think there's something to the fact that he played in the league, so he has that extra respect from the players. It doesn't always work with coaches who played in the league, but like I would argue, one of the best coaches in the NFL right now is a guy who played in the league in Dan Campbell. I wouldn't say he's the best, but he's easily top 5. So I think the players respect him. And if it doesn't work out this year, I hope it does. Obviously, there's still a bunch of season, but if it doesn't work this year, you go hire Ben Johnson, give him whatever he wants.
He was in his bag yesterday with some of those trick plays.
I would love a trick play to a lineman like that. Well, also because he hates the Cowboys, what they did to him last year with that BS. So I respect it. I love it. Imagine what he would do to the Patriots, just running it up onto him.
Yeah, exactly. I also like the way he utilizes Sam Laporta, like the plays, the seams that he runs with him, the way he's kind of developed him these past few seasons. I'm a big fan of that as well.
Yeah, but I do believe in Ulbrich, and I'm excited to see how Downing does tonight instead of Hackett. I know I was on Jake's show earlier. They said Hackett's going to be up in the booth and Downing's going to be down on the sideline. So that'll be an interesting wrinkle.
Get as far away as possible from this offense.
Yeah.
I think I was saying it this past week. I think Hackett's going to be like what he was doing in Green Bay with LaFleur, helping out with the gold zone, although it's more like poo for him. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going out with the red zone, but Downing's going to be doing everything. And Downing likes to run the ball. But the firing, I thought it was going to happen if we lost tonight. So I'm not surprised that Salah got fired. I said it when you went live on Tuesday, Matt. I'm just surprised at when it happened. I feel like that was a consensus among Jets fans. We all thought if we had lost tonight, that would have been it. So I was surprised it came now. But I hope we win tonight. It looks like we're finally going to get Hassan Reddick on the team, maybe. And then also get to Devontae Adams tomorrow when we win. I think we win 31-24, and the 24 is like a late BS garbage time touchdown. More like 31-17, actually. Ooh. I think. But Josh Allen always struggles at MetLife. I'm not going to say he does when we play them at Buffalo, but he's always struggled at MetLife when we played them. So I think that continues. Ulbrich knows how to scheme them. I hope Deion Dawkins doesn't get hurt, but I hope like bad things happen to him besides getting hurt.
Will McDonald beats him 10 times for 10 sacks?
Yeah. Oh, God.
I mean, it was disgusting. I feel bad for Aiden Hutchinson, but now on a positive note, Will McDonald has a good chance to lead the league in sacks by the end of tonight. So,
God, that injury was not great. I saw that clip a couple. It looked like his leg almost came it snapped in half.
It reminded me of the Chris Weidman injury. Like his leg just snapped like celery. It was not good.
Well, it's crazy. It's interesting to hear this Reddick news today. And then that injury, now people are saying about possibly trading him, but then obviously the Reddick agent news that he's with Rosenhaus now. But this Rosenhaus thing, I honestly don't think it means as much as most people think, because people are forgetting. Rappaport reported, 2-3 days ago, that Tory Dandy, his former agent, president of CAA Sports, Dandy and Douglas negotiated the deal that would get Reddick in the green and white, and he was the one who wasn't having it. He didn't want to play on that deal. So, I think Rosenhaus, he said he wants to be a Jet for life. So I think Rosenhaus is really hunting to get Reddick a multi-year deal. I think a lot of it has to do with Reddick's stance, not necessarily his agents.
I think, but maybe the agents, like maybe he just didn't like what his agents were spewing him. I'm never gonna pretend to know what's going on in a guy's head. So that's why they let him go, but maybe it was like a mutual letting go. It's like, okay. And Rosenhaus is known to be a really good agent, especially for the players. So like it's not a shocking change. I wouldn't be shocked now if Reddick plays maybe not the Pittsburgh game, but against the Patriots, which I would be happy to see because I'm going to be at that game and I want to see Drake May get murdered. But I would like to see that. I would like, but yeah, I predicted I was going to call it earlier today, but I think all the New York sports teams are going to win today. So the Mets, I know it's looking good now. The Mets, the Yankees, the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Jets. But I feel so bad for I'm a Rangers fan, but I'm not going to give a crap about the Rangers game tonight because it's game 3 of the regular season, where it's game 1 of the ALCS, and then every Jets game is more important than game 3 of the NHL regular season.
Exactly. I'm hoping Miles get in the win column for the first time this year, but I can't say I'm going to be flipping to that game very much.
No, I'm going to have the Yankees game on one screen and then the Jets on my main TV. So,
yep,
beautiful.
That's how you got to do it.
Like I said, 31-24. And Connor, this is the pregame, not the postgame. You just got to make sure you don't make those errors again.
Oh, I said post. Oh, I must have messed up there. I didn't catch that one. Great call.
But yeah, 31-24, but late BS touchdown. So really 31-17. I would like a Jets easy win. I'm probably gonna be wrong in my prediction, but keep it at this with the regular pregames, not those BS Saturday ones. Guys, have a great night. Enjoy the game.
Love it, Doug. Thank you.
There we go. Keeping it going with the Doug calls. Love it.
Yeah, as always, got to get him in to start the show. We got a few others in here as well. Let's pop to Stevie up next. He's been waiting. Stevie, how's it going?
Good. So I just want to say, is Morgan Moses starting?
Yes, he's back.
Yeah, but Olu Fashanu looked great, I do have to say. He let up 0 sacks, but 9 pressures, and he played 160 snaps. He looked pretty good, I do have to say. But would you rather have him starting or have Morgan Moses over him?
For me personally, I'd rather have Morgan Moses right now. I thought that he looked. Oh, Connor dropped. But I thought he looked better at left tackle in the preseason than he did at right tackle in the regular season. Not saying that he was bad, but they went up against 2 teams in the 2 starts that he had that blitz a lot in the Denver Broncos and Minnesota Vikings. And I just think as a unit, the offensive line really struggled with those. And I think right now where Morgan Moses is, I think he is a better run blocker. And I think for this game, the Jets are going to lean on the run game a lot. So I actually think it might be beneficial to get Morgan Moses and Olu will play more. I don't anticipate Tyron Smith playing a full season. He hasn't done that in almost 10 years. So I do think we see more of Olu, but I'm glad Morgan Moses is coming back.
Well, Matt, you mentioned kind of, blitzing and the running game. I think that's one of the Jets' keys to success, if you will, for tonight's game. That's what I have, at least, is establishing that run game early. You look, and I think it's huge for the Jets. When you look at the Bills' numbers, they have the lowest blitz rate in the league right now at 15.7, and they stack the box only 9.4% of defensive snaps, which is the 4th lowest in the league. So I think this is an increased opportunities for Breece Hall and Braylon Allen to really resurrect what has been, a really poor start to the season in the running game.
I agree. Stevie, any other thoughts for tonight's game against the Buffalo Bills? Anything you're looking for?
Is Tyler Conklin in or out for tonight?
Yeah, we haven't seen the list of inactives yet, but
they did elevate Ferkser. I will say that. I couldn't indicate a Bates possibly being inactive because he looked horrible last week, but they did elevate Ferkser. I did see that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that one's more for Bates. It's possible. It's possible that Tyler Conklin isn't gonna play, but I'm leaning towards he does as of right now.
Yeah, and they elevated Jalen Mills. And is he going to get in?
I think it depends on the situation. If they go to a spot where they're using 3 safety looks, maybe that would be the opportunity. They like Tony Adams a lot. So I think he's going to stick at, at free safety for now. And Chuck Clark, I think, is the running mate that they're going to stick with. Unless one of those two guys maybe starts slow in this game and lets up a big play, or there's an issue, then maybe we see more Jalen Mills. But I'm kind of tempering my expectation there. It's his first action of the year. I don't expect to see him a ton tonight.
Yeah. And I think the Jets, my prediction is 23-20 Jets.
Ooh.
I like it.
Love it. I went 24. I know we'll probably save this for the end of the show, but I'll spoil mine here now. I said Jets 28-24 was my final score prediction for tonight's game. I do see the Jets prevailing. I think Ulbrich, goes in, whether it's pregame or halftime, he dials up a great speech, gets the players going. Players love playing for Ulbrich. His first game, I think it's going to be a great success. He gets in the win column for the first time as an NFL head coach. Starts his, tenure off, if you will, as the Jets head coach with a record of 1-0.
I love it. I'm going to go Jets 20-17. I think it's a little low scoring defensive battle. The wind, I think, is going to play a factor. Supposedly very gusty right now at MetLife Stadium. So I don't think the kickers are going to have a great day, but I'm going to say defensive battle tonight at MetLife.
Like it.
Awesome. Good stuff, Stevie. Thanks for calling in. Let's keep the train rolling. We'll go to Nick up next. Nick, what's going on, man?
Hey guys. How you guys doing?
How you doing, Nick?
Doing all right. Getting ready. So, Connor, I know you're a Mets guy, so I don't know about you, Matt, but I'm hoping that tonight, just it's a clean sweep for New York. Like, set the tone.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm a Mets fan. I'm sweating it. It's on in the background right now, so I'm sweating that. But need this Mets win, and then need to funnel that right into a Jets win tonight.
I didn't want to take Manaea out. I thought he was doing well. It's like one of those like panic moves, but we'll see because the bullpen is not there. But you just never know. But anyway, so for tonight, a couple things that I'm really interested in seeing is Ulbrich Saleh light? Like, that's the question. Is he his own man, his own coach that's going to coach the game differently? Like, I remember for the last, 3+ years that we've had Saleh, he has cost us time and time again with clock management. Just any marginal improvement on that before the half or at the end of the game, like, would be tremendous. It could mean the difference between 1, 2, 3 more wins. Coaching makes a big difference, especially with the clock management. And I don't know how involved Ulbrich's going to be, but just a different voice, maybe calling a timeout sooner and a little bit more instinctive in things changes the game. Like, the great coaches do that. And I don't know that Ulbrich's going to be a great coach, but he might have a different instinct with clock management than Saleh has. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I hope you're right. That's a really big thing for me with Saleh was the clock management. And I also hope that Ulbrich's more aggressive too. I think at times Saleh got burned from being a little bit too conservative. And, Ulbrich's in a spot, he doesn't really have a lot to lose, right? Like, you're an interim head coach, go out and prove it. And, best case scenario, they hire you to be the full-time head coach. If things go wrong, well, you're proven DC, you'll get a job somewhere else as a DC and maybe eventually get another shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is going to be interesting. I think the biggest reason why Woody Johnson made this move is in the hopes of to see the way how the players react. So I think a lot of it depends how do the players react. And they light a fire under themselves and say, okay, this is it. Monday Night Football. We host the division rival Buffalo Bills. This is our chance, take the league by storm, go out and make a statement, get a huge victory, and then now you secure first place in the AFC East through the season's first 6 games. So I think they could view it that way, and then who knows? If they go out tonight, which I hope does not happen, if they go out and, it's the same undisciplined play, then I think the question becomes, well, was this really the smart move? And they really – I don't understand why they couldn't just stick out the rest of the season with Saleh. So I think a lot of it, tonight's performance is really – because New York, the patience is the one thing you can't find in New York City. So if Ulbrich goes out, undisciplined play, already conclusions are going to be drawn. Ulbrich needs to be fired, and we need to find someone else. We need to hire John Gruden to be our head coach, after 6 weeks.
Well, that's the thing, though, right? Like, how many times over the years, and and Matt, you and I are slightly a little bit older than Connor, but you know, how many times over the years have we seen this and we said they waited too long to do X, Y, and Z? Like, why is this guy still around? And like, this is the one situation in the last, and I'm 37 years old, like, that I can remember where I was like, oh man, like they proactively fired this guy. Like they weren't messing around. Like, and to his credit, like, right or wrong, at least Woody was proactive. Like some of the great owners, like Mark Cuban, like when you talk about like the owners that are really involved, like Mark Cuban, like Jerry Jones, they're super. Like, he at least was proactive and say like, no, we're not tolerating this. Like we're moving on, and this is what, right or wrong. That's, you have to have that like killer mentality in this sport, in this business, and I appreciate that, at least as a fan. You know, for once, some decision was just made, and go ahead and do it. You know, the other thing, I'll leave you with this. Please, now Downing's the guy. Just throw the ball in the first half at least. Just throw it once or twice on first down. Just humorous, like open things up. The pass will open up the run. It's 100%. Everyone knows we're trying to establish the run every game. Well, you're going to stack the box if you know you're going to do it on first down. Let Rodgers just throw a bubble screen for 4 or 5 yards on first down. It changes everything when you have a 2nd and 5. Just give him that opportunity in the first half to just keep the defense guessing a little bit, and I guarantee you the outcome will be different.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, that's interesting there, because one of my keys to success, like I mentioned earlier on with Matt and Doug, is establishing the run game early on in the game, because Jets' run game, like I said, I mentioned the Bills statistics there, but Bills have had a really weak run defense. Jets have struggled to run the ball offensively, and Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 54 times last week. I don't think that's sustainable week in and week out. We're already seeing him. He's getting banged up with these minor injuries. 2nd week in a row, he's on the injury report. I think it's establishing the run game. I do like what you're saying there, Nick. It's funny because entering this season, I thought the Nathaniel Hackett, Zach Wilson type playbook was just going to get thrown out of the window, where it's these little checkdowns. However, that kind of carried in throughout the first 5 weeks of the season. So I expect more motion out of Tom Downing, and I expect less predictability. That's what I expect out of Downing tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they will motion a lot more. He did that a ton in Tennessee. The 2 years that he called plays for Tennessee, they were top 10 in motion. And he's very keen on getting the ground game going. And, just matchup wise against this Buffalo defense, it's their weakest link. They allow 5.2 yards per carry against. Yep. If there was ever a game for Breece Hall to get going and Braylon Allen to be utilized, I think it's tonight.
Absolutely.
Play like a superstar, right? Like everyone expects you to be that. Let's see it. So, gentlemen, appreciate it. Let's go Jets. Let's go New York sports tonight. Let's
love it.
There we go. Nick. Appreciate the call.
Good stuff. While we were talking to Nick, Connor, we got some pretty big breaking news for this game that I'm going to pull up on screen.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, according to Mike Garafolo, James Cook will be inactive versus the Jets.
Wow.
Tom Pelissero. Cook was listed as questionable, was hopeful to play after practice on Saturday, but will sit out. Ray Davis and Ty Johnson will lead the way. Frank Gore Jr. is also dressed.
Wow, I did not catch that one. Matt coming in with the breaking news here on the pregame program. Wow, he was limited in practice all week. This is really interesting because, another thing I was going to say is containing James Cook would be key, because the Jets' run defense has been weak. Now you look, you get the rookie in Roy Davis. He's seen an uptick in snaps these past few weeks. He's going to be someone to watch. Ty Johnson, obviously former Jet. He brings a lot of speed to the table. Play him on special teams. How is he used? And then Frank Gore Jr., like you mentioned, Doug was saying, Josh Allen will be the first player to hand, a player and his son the ball throughout his career. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the Bills adjust. Also, the Jets' run defense, I think this really takes, a massive load off their shoulders for a unit that struggled, significantly throughout the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's not the strength of this Jets defense. And, with Cook out, I think they're going to try to throw more with Josh Allen. And that, I think, leads into what the Jets look to do defensively. I think if they're going to have success in this game as a defense, they're going to have to get after Josh Allen. So Will McDonald's going to have a big game. But, DJ Reed's been playing some of the best football of his career. Sauce Gardner, we know how talented he is, even though he's got off to a little bit of a slow start this season. And then that's how maybe you could bait Josh Allen into some mistakes. They did that last year in the first game. He had 3 interceptions. So I'm hoping the Jets are able to turn him over a few times tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And the people were saying in the chat, I found it. My Wi-Fi issues, as you guys know, have been really poor. That my Wi-Fi has been really poor this show. Jets inactive list is out, Matt. If you want to pull it up on the screen, everyone is saying Corley is inactive in the chat. So wow, that's a really interesting development there. Obviously, Corley inactive against the Vikings in London. Matt, do you think this now officially indicates that the Jets are looking to deal him in a potential trade for Devontae Adams, or what do you think this really means?
Yeah, I don't know if this has any bearing on his future with the Jets or not. It's definitely I will say it's strange because it's happened now in back-to-back weeks, and it's as we're talking about the Devontae Adams rumor. So that's certainly on the table. I just find it so hard in a way to believe that the Jets were so high on this guy. They tried to trade up for him in the second round. They end up trading up for him and get him at the top of the third round. But then to bail on him so quickly seems a little bit bizarre. Now, I'm not there at practice every day. I'm not seeing what the Jets are seeing, but I don't know. I find it, a little bit surprising that the Jets can't find a way to get him the ball a couple times a game, unless, as you said, if this is holding him out because he's involved in trade rumors, maybe that's a different story. But if that's not the case, a little bit strange.
Yeah, Matt, this is it's really interesting because it's not like Xavier Gibson, who's Malachi Corley was kind of expected to play that similar role to what we saw at Xavier Gibson, special teams, and also kind of used as a shifty slot receiver. Gibson's gotten off to a terrible start. He's looked horrible on offense, and you could say he's looked okay on special teams. So it's even more interesting to see that they're not even looking at Corley despite Gibson's struggles. So that's something else to keep your eye on. I think this has to do with the Adams trade.
Yeah, I think it definitely can be. Let's go to a super chat. Brian Bogan chimes in, says, let's not forget CMC was out week 1 too, and the Jets defense got shredded. Can't underestimate the backup running backs with this defense. That's fair. I am going to give the 49ers run scheme a little credit here. I think Kyle Shanahan does a really great job that they, before Christian McCaffrey got there, they were able to rotate backs in and have a lot of success with some no-name guys. But the Bills aren't really built that way. They're built to be a throwing team, and James Cook is kind of a dual threat back. He can catch passes out of the backfield. He's a very good runner as well. It's definitely possible, and Brian's right. Like, we shouldn't completely overlook it. But at the same time, I think circumstance is a little bit different for this one. What's your take on that, Connor?
Yeah, this is really interesting because Josh Allen, he threw the ball only 30 times last week. He went 9 for 30. But you're correct. The Bills are a throwing team. I don't expect it to have as much of an impact. You also need to keep in mind, you mentioned the 49ers scheme there. Kyle Shanahan is more of an offensive genius than Sean McDermott is. I think the Bills are going to throw the ball a lot more. I think the Jets are not going to blitz nor stack the box much during this game. I think it's going to open up opportunities. I think the Jets secondary is going to look, really, really solid tonight. Michael Carter, the second's out. I expect another big game out of Brendan Eccles, hopefully another interception tonight at Eccles. That would give him his 3rd on the season. He currently leads the team with 2. I know we spoke, Matt, earlier with Stevie about the Jalen Mills elevation. You mentioned you could see him in a 3 safety set. I have a different I have a different thought process as to why he was actually elevated. I think it's with the MC2 news that Oliver started. He was the starting slot corner last week when MC2 only played 1 snap last week. So I think this is something maybe the Jets elevate Mills to kind of take over Oliver's role in that safety position. Now Oliver and Eccles step up to be those slot corners, but I expect a big game out of the Jets secondary tonight.
Yeah, I would think so too. And you bring up a good point there with Brandon Eccles. It feels like anytime he's on the field the last few years, he's made plays. Another time where he gets a start and gets an interception here. I'm hoping something similar happens, right? I mean, you could say the same thing about a guy like Ashton Davis. He doesn't play a ton, but just finds the ball whenever he's out there. And again, when you're going up against a team that has a quarterback the level of Josh Allen, the way that you have to beat them is to get pressure on them and then also to create a turnover to steal a possession. The Jets have done a really good job against that or against Josh Allen in that. 18 career starts, 18 turnovers against the Jets. So we'll see if that trend continues tonight.
No, Matt, I wanted to ask you. Obviously, C.J. Mosley now he's returning from multi-game absence. Jamie and Sherwood, he's someone who's really stepped up as of late these past few weeks. How do you expect Sherwood's role to kind of alter when you have a leader like Mosley returning to the field?
Yeah, I'm excited for Mosley to be back, and I don't mean that as a knock against Jamie and Sherwood, who played really well in his absence. I think that makes the Jets a little bit stronger. I think they could play a little bit more base personnel with three linebackers on the field, especially with Michael Carter out. That might be a way to hide, that absence. And Carter is a very good slot corner. Now, granted, you could have an Isaiah Oliver type or Brandon Eccles come in and play that role, but I think we'd all agree that you'd feel a little bit more comfortable with Sherwood and Mosley out there. At least for me, Mosley on early downs, I still think could be a productive player. I know he struggled the first game and a half. He was clearly playing hurt, and he's not the same in coverage, but against the run on early downs, I still think he's a valuable player.
Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jets Talk. If you'd like to call into the show, it is the pinned comment here. Live pregame coverage for the New York Jets Week 6 clash against the Buffalo Bills. Now, Matt, I want to get a hot take of yours for tonight's game. Something that crossed my mind. I'll go ahead and share mine. I think Irv Charles is going to force a fumble tonight in punt coverage. Sounds like a crazy prediction. We've seen it happen in prior years. We got close against the Vikings, except the ball actually hit off him first before it hit the Vikings. So, it ended up, of course, being Vikings ball. Jets didn't retain possession. But that's a hot take of mine. Matt, give me a hot take ahead of tonight's game.
Yeah. I like that hot take. I'm gonna go. Man, you caught me off guard. Is it? How about that? Is this a hot enough take? If not, I'll go with something else. Tyler Conklin first touchdown.
That's a hot take. I mean,
Okay.
Conk hasn't gotten into the end zone since 2022. So, and we know Rodgers loves his tight ends in the red zone.
So that's going to be my hot take. Tyler Conklin first touchdown, and he has a big night. I say 6 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown from Tyler Conklin.
Well, that's interesting because Todd Downing, prior to his experience as the Titans offensive coordinator, he was the Titans tight end coach, where Jonnu Smith had a great year. So hopefully I really want Downing to implement that component to the Jets offense because Tyler Conklin is such a talented pass catcher. There are just weeks where the team just simply doesn't get him the ball. And I think you get him the ball on a more consistent basis. I think this team's going to see, a huge improvement in just success when you really think about it because utilizing these pass-catching tight ends is such a key in today's NFL. Speaking of tight ends, Matt, someone I know you're very high on, Jeremy Ruckert. He's from Long Island, like the both of us are. What are your thoughts on Ruckert, his start to the season? Do you see anything from him tonight?
Honestly, it's been a little underwhelming for our guy, Jeremy Ruckert, I think. In that second game against the Titans, I think if he ran a better route, he would have ended up with a touchdown. Been a little inconsistent as a blocker this year. I think, normally a very strong blocker, but just hasn't really gotten going. And I think, that's a big reason for why the Jets run game has struggled. It's not just him, but, the Jets tight ends as a unit hasn't blocked well. The offensive line hasn't blocked well. But, I just said this is a game where the Jets run offense should be better. And if they are, I do think Ruckert plays a factor in that. I don't expect him to be, someone who's catching a bunch of passes tonight, but I do think we see him on the field and utilized as a blocker in the rushing attack.
Now the offensive line, Matt, the blocking, you mentioned the blocking there, Ruckert and Bates. Was Bates on that inactive list, Matt?
That's a great
question. I didn't see him.
I didn't see
he's not
him
there.
So I guess the Jets are going to have 4 active tight ends.
Well,
I'll pull it back up.
Yeah, I just checked. He's not there. That's interesting because Firkser has some experience at fullback, so maybe they use him as that kind of, fullback, H-back, run blocking tight end. That's what I think. That's what I think this elevation is for. Because I'm surprised Bates is active. That's an interesting move. But you have MC2, JBC. He's been inactive. If I were the Jets, I'd activate Corley and then inactivate Brendan Bates, just coming off of what we saw from him last week in terms of just overall run blocking. It was very poor. So they go with 4 tight ends, and then I assume when Yeboah gets back, obviously Yeboah is not back this week. Who do you expect? You think it's Bates who has to go?
I would think so, man. I just don't think he's looked all that great, which is, unfortunate. He was kind of billed as someone who was supposed to come in and like stabilize as a blocker, I thought, but that has not been the case through early on in his Jets tenure.
Yeah, I will say just overall in the tight end room, obviously Conklin's done everything he can to succeed when he gets the ball in his hands. One of the main reasons the Jets have both Brendan Bates and Jeremy Ruckert is Conklin, historically speaking, has never been great in run blocking. So they technically brought, Ruckert, obviously, when they drafted him, and Bates in to be these run blocking tight ends who are going to anchor down and, pick up the slack left by Tyler Conklin, who, like I said, has always struggled in run blocking. However, they haven't done that. They haven't contributed in any other significant areas. I think you got to hope for a change out of Rucker, and I think it's just a matter of weeks until Bates is gone. But speaking of activating players, the Jets did activate defensive tackle Lucky Fotu. He started the season on IR. What do you expect out of him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, that's a name who you were hoping to see early on this year and helping out the Jets in the run game. Unfortunately, did not start the season healthy and was inactive. I thought he had a pretty good training camp. I thought he stood out in his run defense, and they're going to need him. That's definitely a weaker spot of this Jets defense. And, pairing him next to Quinnen Williams on early downs, I think is going to be a good thing. Kinlaw, we know what he is as a pass rusher, but he's not great against the run. I think Fotu could help that.
Yeah, you mentioned Javon Kinlaw there. You think Fotu is going to really help contribute against the run. What does this mean for someone perhaps like Solomon Thomas per se? What do you think this move means for him? We did see they released Jalen Holmes, who's done a fine job for the Jets in stopping the run, a unit that has really not been pretty. What do you think this move means for someone like Solomon Thomas?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I wanted to pull up what his snap counts have looked like. They've gone down week over week. Here, I'll pull up this tab so we can look at it together. For Solomon Thomas, it started at 53%, but now down to 41 and 40%. I would think that continues to trend down. Maybe lives around 35% going forward. I just think, adding another body on the interior defensive line, they're gonna, play guys like that. Over, a Jalen Holmes who played a good chunk in the first 5 games of the year, but still just 36% this past week. So I think that's the number where we end up seeing Solomon Thomas in that 35 to 40% rather than 40 plus.
Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to both channels at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jets Talk. Matt, I know we did touch on the Reddick news earlier on, but kind of go more in depth. Entering this week, really, I thought Hassan Reddick was a lost cause. I think we had to view it as a bonus. If he were to report at any point this season, I didn't see him, reporting to the New York Jets at all. But now you got the news, new agency. Drew Rosenhaus wants to get a deal done. He will be in the building tonight to hopefully work something out with Joe Douglas. Do you think something gets done? If so, how early could we see Reddick? And then what do you think this means for the Jets pass rush? Because Will McDonald, he's gotten off to a really strong start. Now you add someone like Hassan Reddick on the opposing side of the line. I think this is going to be a nightmare for offensive lines if something's able to get done with Reddick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think something does end up getting done. I would be very, very surprised if Reddick holds out the entire year. Now, maybe he does I'm going to report in week 10 or 11, whatever the last week he can show and accrue a season. But to me, I think something gets done. I would be surprised if he plays in the Steelers game. But if he signs this week, maybe you could target that game against the New England Patriots the following week as one that he could play in. But I think he would be awesome in that defensive line rotation and paired opposite of Will McDonald. McDonald's done a great job, but they've, rotated a bunch of guys over on the other side, and Michael Clemens has been leading the way, playing just over 50% of snaps. And I think we could agree that Clemens is not really a pass rusher. He's more of a run stopping guy, and adding someone who's been a perennial double-digit sack season guy, I think would be huge for this defense. I think that just takes him to another level.
Speaking of, just looking at overall big picture of this defensive unit, 2 players that, like I said, have been underrated entering this year, but have been key contributors on the Jets defensive unit, Jamie Sherwood and Brendan Eccles. Quite frankly, Matt, they're both free agents after this season ends. Could you see anything in the coming weeks? The Jets just get something done with those 2 guys so they don't have to worry about anything this offseason?
It's definitely possible. And I think, unfortunately with DJ Reed's free agency looming, I would just find it very hard to see the Jets be able to retain him. I just think he's going to get a ton of money on the open market. Someone's going to pay him to be a number one corner. And unfortunately, I think the Jets lose out on that. So I think, retaining Eccles and having him in the mix to take over as the number two corner is something that they should absolutely consider.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the phone lines. We have our guy V-Man joining the show. V-Man, how you doing?
What's up? Just getting my TV set up for game. So, what do you guys think? Medaya, Donku, or Ronda Barlito?
Oh, I
Matt,
like the last one that you just pulled up. That one looked the nicest to me, so that stood out.
Yeah, this one's aged. Got an even more expensive one, but this is the Jets won the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, that's a special point.
Yeah, this is aged 20 years. I hand bottled this myself in Bayamon, Puerto Rico.
That's
Wow.
incredible. That's a special occasion one.
Like I said, it's either that. It's like, yeah, you can see the family seal. Pedro Fernandez. It's like, yeah, no, that's
awesome.
if the Jets win the Super Bowl or Pip wins the elections in Puerto Rico.
Okay, there we go. So you have it all. You have it all figured out. What if the Jets, and I know you're a Yankees fan, what if the Jets and Yankees win tonight? What are you celebrating with?
I'll probably celebrate with Ronda Barlito. I see you're probably giddy right now because the Mets are up 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sweating it. This bullpen doesn't really make me all that confident, so I'm not going to be happy until the final out comes across here.
That's what you got to do. It's a 27-out game. You got to get all 27 outs before you celebrate, especially as a Met fan.
So, what are the? I haven't checked up. What are the current? What's the injury report for both teams?
Okay, so James Cook is not playing for the Buffalo Bills. That's a big one. For the Jets, CJ Mosley is back. Malachi Corley is inactive again.
Man, when are they gonna get that kid some playing time?
Yep.
I don't know. What about Ed Oliver is out, right?
Yep.
Ed Oliver is also out.
Yeah, that's gonna be good for the run game. Hopefully, we can get this run game going because I know the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing crazy. I think the Bills brought that Buffalo wind with them.
It looks that way, man. It's windy. I've seen a ton of videos down at MetLife Stadium. People are hanging in the parking lot, but it's a windy day, which is going to make it tough on the kickers, I think.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
it's really aggressive on fourth down. I would see a bit more aggression on fourth down in certain spots because I don't know if you're going to trust your. As good as Zerline is, he's been off this year, so I don't know how far you're going to trust him in this game.
Yeah, Matt, what do you got there?
Yeah, I don't know how long they're going to trust him for in this one. It's tough. I think it's a tough matchup with the Jets Bills divisional game. But there's an opportunity for Jeff Ulbrich. I think if the team comes out firing and they get a win, I think that could get the momentum back on track, and they need it really badly.
I think it's important, and also I think it's important because I think you win this game. It helps you. I think it's going to help you with both getting Devontae Adams and possibly getting Reddick in this building.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. To kind of you mentioned you mentioned Jeff Ulbrich. How about the play calling duties going from Nathaniel Hackett to Todd Downing? Both of you guys, how do you think that's going to affect the team?
I think they're going to run a lot more. I know that Downing really put an emphasis on that in Tennessee. I think that's a big factor. And then I'm hoping to see more motion, something Nathaniel Hackett refuses to do.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah,
man, what's your yep.
Yeah, what are you asking me?
Yeah, I was going to say,
what's
your key to success for the Jets tonight?
Just borrow. I like to use this quote from Admiral Halsey: "Is hit fast, hit hard, hit often."
There we go. Love it.
Thank you, V-Man. Good stuff as always.
Absolutely.
Let's keep it rolling. We're going to go to BMAC now. BMAC, how's it going, my friend?
Hey guys, good night to y'all. I suppose it's already nighttime, but
Yep.
yeah. I don't know, man. I'm feeling anxious. I'm curious. How the Jets are gonna come out. After a week of just just like disasters. Like I felt like last week was like a disaster for the Jets. Just for like Spyler Salah coming off a brutal loss, and then it's like last week felt like 2 months. So, but here we are again, Monday Night Football. Just got a big opportunity to get a win here and be in first place in the division, as ridiculous as that sounds. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just hope this team comes out with a new set of urgency, and I hope this offense under Todd Darwin now, comes out fast and run the ball more, put up points, and I think the defense is going to do their job tonight. Josh seems like he has a bad day against this Jets defense, and their receiving core a little bit banged up too. And Cook tonight is not going to start. So, but I got a question for y'all too. Rodgers, of course, has been getting a lot of slander and criticism last week. A lot of people thought that that he was behind the Robert Saleh firing, and now people call him a coach killer, which he had 3 head coaches in 20 years. So I don't know how that coach killer.
Yep.
But go ahead. Go ahead, Matt. You about to say something?
No, sorry. You cut out.
Yeah. But if tonight they lose, or like if he has another bad performance again, or like do you think this kind of damages his legacy? Like even like this now, like people are speculating that he got started fired. Like, do you think this kind of damages his legacy?
Yeah, I'll take this one first. I think that it's definitely the more poor performances we see in prime time. Like, I know technically the Sunday game against the Vikings wasn't prime time, but it was a standalone game, and everyone was just, the whole world was watching it, unfortunately, and he didn't play well. So I think a lot of people are rooting for Aaron Rodgers to do poorly. So if it's back-to-back games of that, I just think the naysayers are going to get even louder. So he needs a bounce back performance in a big way. And I think the Jets need to win this game to kill these overrated or washed up narratives.
Yeah, absolutely. Rarely do we see, I think last week was a bit of a fluke. Rarely, obviously, Rodgers didn't have his best performance against the Broncos. He was getting slandered like he always does. Rarely does he not go out and have a great performance against the Vikings. He's owned the Vikings for so long, and obviously, the storylines entering that game. Now, I think this is the game. Rodgers turns it around after 2 poor performances, proves the critics wrong. Jets go out, get a win. I think this win, you gotta hope it's something like that Patriots game where it's just a huge confidence builder.
Yeah. I think usually we don't see Rodgers having back-to-back stinkers like that. The Broncos game, you can say I'm wearing colored glasses, but I don't think he was terrible in that game. I think the whole team was as bad in that game, and then the Vikings game, you can't defend that. He was just terrible. You can't throw 3 interceptions. But again, if Lazard catches those 4 passes, that game might have been a different story as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that certainly would have made a big difference, I think. If he catches the one in the end zone, I know it's a tough play, but if you get 2 hands on the ball, you got to be able to come up with it, and that changes a lot in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a film piece on Lazard over at Jets X Factor. A lot of people were thinking he's having such a bounce back season. His yardage is still, yards per catch, stuff like that, still in the 30s, low mid to high 30s, and then obviously his 4 touchdowns, which I will say is great start. Currently ranks the 3rd most among all wide receivers in this league. But he had 4 drops against the Vikings, all 4 that either affected the game or offer that either affected the game or, could have really, really hurt the game. The one that didn't affect the game but really could have hurt the game is the one that just came right off his hands in the red zone, got, jarred right into the air. That could have easily been an interception. He had one that would have put brought the Jets into opposing territory. He dropped it. Next play was, the Rodgers pick 6 to Andrew Van Ginkel. So just little things like that this team needs to clean up if they really want to, be taken serious by opposing defenses.
Yeah, well, I got the Jets bouncing back tonight in a close game. I got the Jets 20-17 and take the lead in the division.
That was my score prediction as well. I said 2017 Jets, so we're on the same page tonight.
Right.
Love it. Love it.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, VMAC.
Good stuff as always. We'll keep it rolling. The Sin City Jets is next. What's going on, man?
Not much. How you doing?
Doing good. What's your feel for tonight?
I think we're going to have a good game when it comes to the running game. I think Braylon Allen specifically is probably going to have another great game. I think it's going to be a game like you're saying, 2017, very close, not very high scoring, but not very low scoring in the same sense. But running game, I think, is where we're going to see the biggest difference tonight. I think our offensive line is actually going to show out.
I hope so. With Todd Downing really put an emphasis on the running game in Tennessee. Now, granted, he had Derrick Henry, like that obviously helps a lot too. But I do think that's their game plan, especially with how Buffalo is stacked up defensively. They're not very strong against the run, and they are missing Ed Oliver in the interior of that defensive line. So yeah, you're right. That makes a huge difference in this game.
Yeah, I expect a big game out of, I think it's not only establishing the run game, but utilizing both Breece and Braylon, in an effective manner to really catch a defense off guard. We've seen the Jets games where they utilize them both, but not effectively. We saw Breece Hall taking snaps from the 1 yard line against the Broncos. That's something that you can't have happen when you really, go head to head with solid defenses. But yes, I do expect a big game out of the Jets rushing attack.
I mean, exactly. You got to use Breece Hall in the right way. I mean, he's a multi-use tool, but running him in between the tackles a lot is not his best strong suit. He's kind of like Derrick Henry in the sense where you like to see him doing stretches. You want to see him going to the outside. I mean, different type of results, but you want Breece Hall to be going to the outside. You want to give him the ball through the air. You don't really want to pound him down the middle too often. He's capable of doing it. I mean, down in that one hole, but when it comes to between the guards, I don't see him doing that very well.
No, I agree. That should be Braylon Allen's strength is, running up the middle. And I think they do that more today. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe close to 10 carries for Braylon Allen, somewhere up in that range.
What do you guys think about CJ Mosley being back with how good Sherwood has been playing?
Matt, take it away.
Yeah, so I think you bring up a good point with Jamie and Sherwood being a factor, and he's played really strong. But I think there's still a role for CJ Mosley on this team as an early down linebacker. I think you maybe split reps with them in obvious passing or third down situations. I think that's when I'd rather see Jamie and Sherwood on the field. But on first down or second and long, I do think that there's a world where you could see CJ Mosley out there and still have success. And I know he didn't look good through the first 2 games of the year. I think he was playing through it still at that point. He left both the first game against the 49ers and then the Tennessee game with the injury. So I think that played a factor in it too. And if he's fully healed, I don't know if he's going to be prime CJ Mosley, but I think he could still be a useful player.
I'll say this. Yeah, I'll say this, Sin City Jets. It's CJ Mosley. He's a leader in this defensive group. Yes, he might have struggled a bit these past, obviously last year and the start of this season. He's been dealing with some injury problems, but fans have to realize the Jets are not benching CJ Mosley for Jamie and Sherwood. It's just simply not happening. Maybe, yes, Mosley comes into a bit of a decreased role, but I think Mosley's still going to play. He's going to play a solid amount, and I expect a solid game out of him.
That's fair. Do you guys think we're gonna have a lot of interceptions like we did last year?
I do. If they get pressure on him, I think they could intercept him at least once, hopefully more than once. That'd be really nice. But they're gonna need a strong game from the pass rush and then the defensive backs if that's the case. So I'm circling Will McDonald. I want to see him beat Deion Dawkins like 15 times tonight.
Oh yeah,
that would be the key to success right there.
There we go. Sin City Jets, appreciate the call. Final score prediction.
I'm going to go 21-14.
Ooh,
Good
like
stuff.
it.
I like it.
There we
Thank
go.
you,
The Jets
City.
winning by a touchdown. Enjoy the game.
Good stuff. Let's go out to Yeti's up next.
There we
Yeti,
go.
how's it going?
Yo, hey, what's up, guys?
How's it
How
going?
we doing?
Doing well.
Right on, right on. Hey, Connor, man, it's awesome to see you, buddy.
Yeah, great to talk to you. Obviously I've seen you in the chat. I appreciate all the support, but I think this is the first time we've actually been on camera together.
Yeah, totally, man. I really appreciate everything you're doing. It's really cool to see you,
Thanks,
getting out there. You're rocking it out, man. Good for you, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Matt, this is again, another first. I've never called into you. And
Oh wow.
I don't know. Maybe you've heard of me, Matt. I don't know.
I've seen Yeti in the comments for a very, very long time. I just assumed that we've talked before because I've seen that name so many times. So,
Yep.
But it's a pleasure to finally get to talk on the air together.
Totally. And I really appreciate you doing this little live stream before the game. That's really cool. And letting us call in. Like, that's cool. I'm not going to get redundant. We're not going to talk over the same thing. Yeah, turf toe, this, that, whatever. I have one question for you guys. Boomer or Foley?
Ooh, that's
I
so
love
tough.
that Boomer jersey looks so nice. I love that throwback look.
And when I first saw it, I didn't read the last name.
We're rocking like Kelly Green tonight, right? Like the old
Oh
school?
no, white. It's white.
Well, it's white. But
yeah. But when I first saw that Esiason jersey, without reading the last name, I just automatically assumed it was a Ken O'Brien jersey.
Yeah,
Number
I do
7.
have an O'Brien. But
I have to go with Boomer. I like it because he's been, I don't know if you guys listen to his WFAN radio show, but he's been a critic of the Jets recently. So you wear that, you prove him wrong in that jersey tonight. I think that's the way to go.
All right. Well, he's a real fan. He loves the Jets. So when he's critical, he's just, he's one of us, being, kind of a wise guy. Yeah. But all right, cool guys. That's it. If you got anybody else lined up,
I love
enjoy
it.
the
Good stuff, Yeti.
Yeah, enjoy the game.
Yeah. Later.
Appreciate
Awesome
the
stuff.
call.
Yeah, awesome stuff to have everyone check in. I love that. The jersey look. I'm wearing it. I'm sorry. I was in my Mets jersey before. I didn't realize if I made the switch. I did make the switch. I'm rocking the Mark Sanchez white jersey because that's what they wore during that era. That's what I think of when I see that logo. I think of the 09 and 2010 Jets.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Sanchez, I think, we'll get into my jersey in a second, but I think Mark Sanchez is one of the most overhated Jets of all time. You still have to keep in mind, yes, a lot of it, his success with the Jets might have had to do with obviously Rex Ryan, the coaching staff, the weapons around him, but he was still a serviceable QB for the Jets. I don't think he deserves nearly as much of the slander as he's getting. Again, that was right before I was actually born, that 2009, 2010, back-to-back AFC championship run. But I'm wearing a bit of a unique jersey today for tonight's game, Matt. It is a Tony Adams jersey. That is who I'm rocking. I think we talked about this on the first pregame show of the year. I've been messing around. I think last game when I was at the game in London, I went with Sauce. Now you got to go a unique one, Tony Adams. And Matt, this is the backstory why I'm rocking Tony Adams. You look last year, week 1, obviously not the result we wanted with Aaron Rodgers, but Jordan Whitehead, he had 3 interceptions. Obviously, Jordan Whitehead, he's no longer with the Jets. You got to hope Tony Adams fills those shoes tonight, gets us a 3 interception night. That is the backstory behind my Tony Adams jersey.
I love it. You might be the only person rocking a black Tony Adams jersey tonight.
Yep, absolutely.
I love it. Good stuff there. Got another caller on the line. We can go to him. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but welcome to the show.
Hello.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Enjoy the game.
If the camera comes back on, and then I'll look down and pop it in. But anyway, for this game tonight, I think a lot of people are going to be pumped up in that building. First game for the new coach. The energy is going to be high at MetLife, and I'm hoping the Jets respond with a nice win.
Absolutely. They respond to all the critics. 2-game losing streak. I think the key right here is you got to go out, you win tonight, you get to 500, you're feeling confident, 3-3, you travel to Pittsburgh, face the Steelers. You got that game. Hopefully they can win. But Steelers are a talented team. If they come out with a win, they're 4-3. They face the Patriots again. That's a sweep. They're 5-3 on the year now. They're facing, if you're 5-3 entering that Halloween game, I'm feeling kind of confident.
How could you not be? If you're rolling at that point, just ride the momentum as long as you can. That's what I say.
Absolutely. You gotta keep the the positive momentum going, like you said. That's why I hope tonight's like the week 3 game against the Patriots. It's a confidence builder.
Love it. Let's go back to the phone lines now. We got Tanner and Tate. What's going on?
How we doing, Matt? Hey, Matt. Tate here. Tanner here. First time, long time. Yeah, we were just talking about, we've heard about how Ulbrich wants to run the ball, reinforce the run game a little bit. I think as Jets fans, we've all been waiting for them to put up one of these 35, 40-point games, high-flying passing offense. We've heard about the windy conditions at MetLife tonight. Is this one of these nights, Bills' rush defense is not very good, where we kind of take our medicine and pound the rock and maybe look to next week or the following for one of these high-scoring, high-volume offensive passing games? What do you think about that?
Yeah, for me, I don't think this week or next week, honestly, against Pittsburgh with the pass defense that they have, I just don't see this, the game script lining up to a point where they're dropping Aaron back 40 times and he's throwing for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, kind of a thing. I would love to see it. I think one of these days we do get to see it, but these next two weeks, I know the Bills defense hasn't looked as great as what they've gone in years by. And they're a little susceptible, but it's in the run game. It's not really the passing attack. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring, grinded out kind of game tonight.
Yeah, I kind of have to side with Matt there, but I will say anything could happen. Normally it's any given Sunday, but it's any given Monday night for tonight's game. So I think anything could happen. But I'm not going too high scoring. I'm not going too low scoring. Kind of in the middle. I have the Jets surpassing the Bills 28-24. They improved to 500 on the season. That's what I have.
Yeah, and then I just want to add to that. I'm just excited to see Ulbrich on the sideline. I feel like he's had to sit there, send out a top, we could nitpick here, call it top 5 to 8 defensive units, some years top 3, year in and year out. And he's got to be sitting there biting his tongue, watching what's been put out there on the other side of the ball. So I think there's a lot more to him, a lot more that he can bring to the offense than people are giving him credit for. He's seen a lot of ball. He's been a player, and he's just had to kind of sit there in the passenger seat. And I really hope he just gets involved. I'm just looking for involvement. Those last few games with Saleh, he just looks dejected on the sideline as soon as it's not going well. I can't see that. I just need to see Ulbrich get involved, and I really think he will. And that's why I'm excited.
I agree. Got to bring the energy. The energy's got to be higher. Saleh looked like a dead man walking the last few weeks. I think he knew the end was there.
Yeah, I think Ulbrich's going to be feisty. I think he's really. We all know that he was probably going to be interviewing for head coaching gigs next year. So he's got an early tryout. He could be relishing the opportunity for all we know.
I'm with you. I love it. Good stuff. I love both questions, Tanner and Tate. Enjoy the game tonight, guys.
Yep. Go Jets.
There we go. Love it.
Great stuff there. I love the questions. Unfortunately, Eric's going to piss us off, but we got to pop.
Oh, yeah.
Hoping for a Jets win. And yes, a Dodgers miracle. Please don't block me. LOL. Love you, Matt. All good, Eric. It's all in good fun.
We're a commercial break now, right? Going in the bottom of the ninth.
Going to the bottom of the ninth. Edwin came in, got the last out in the 8th. I need good Edwin today, Connor. We need to see some good Edwin in the 9th.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Iglesias, obviously, he was the last out of that. And, the OMG energy has been such a key reason as to why the Jets have made it this far in the playoffs. But he's kind of struggled a bit in the postseason if we're being nitpicky. So I want to see him turn it around. But hopefully, the Mets can close this thing out. Edwin Diaz, he does what he does best, finishes the game off. Mets knock things up 1-1 on the series, and then they take care of business.
Love it. Eric, hopefully the Jets win for you today.
Absolutely.
Good stuff there. Big night in New York sports. Mets, Yankees, Jets. I don't know. There's Rangers, Devils in action. There's something for everybody tonight, and I'm hoping all these New York teams win. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing we're missing is I don't know if you're too bad. I don't know if you're a basketball fan, Matt, but it would be crazy if somehow I actually think the Nets are playing. I'm a Nets fan. They do have a preseason game tonight against the Wizards. Not the Knicks though. That would be absolutely insane if you got all the 4 major main U.S. sports obviously all playing, especially the New York teams all on the same night. That would be That'd be insane. But it's like you said, big game for New York sports. Hopefully the Jets go out, well represent New York here on national television. Jets beat the Bills Monday Night Football 28-24.
I love it. 28-24. I'm on 20-17. Just no matter how it happens, I don't care if they win 3-0. Just get a win. Get back in the win column. It's good for the vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to, make a statement with this game because if we, Matt, we still know if we're going to get the 3-0 win, the national media is still going to, they only beat the Bills by 3 points. So, yeah, this team's not good or something like that. So I would love a blowout victory, but no matter what, just get the job done.
I love it. Good stuff. I think that'll do it for us on this pregame stream. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us here. Make sure to subscribe to Connor's channel, subscribe to my channel as well, and stay tuned for more coverage. Hopefully the Jets win this one and we're all pumped up next Sunday doing our pregame show.
Let's get it done. Improve to 500 on the season. Boy, would that feel great as the team travels to Pittsburgh next Sunday. Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday Night Football. Hopefully, the Jets can, just do their job tonight, like we said, get past the Bills, a division game, and claim first place in the AFC East through the season's first 6 games. And like Matt said, make sure you are subscribed to both of our channels at Matt O'Leary NY. Make sure you smash that like button, share the video, and like Matt said, that'll do it for us. Matt O'Leary, Connor Long, signing off. JTS Jets, Jets, Jets.